Hi everyone and welcome to another video from Hostile Territory. In this video we'll be talking about something that seems to be plaguing most of workplaces around the world, it seems so. It is called ageism, and what can I say? It seems to be a big problem that you're growing old, and it seems to be a big problem to keep your job while you're growing old. We'll be talking about in this video what is ageism, what are the common signs of you being a victim of ageism, and finally how to perhaps fight it and keep your job for at least some time. So stay tuned.
Hostile Territory.
Now, before we start, and I sincerely hope I'm not boring with this in my other videos, I want to define what ageism is. Again, I found the definition on Google, so I will read it. Ageism is prejudice or discrimination on the grounds of a person's age. More simply put, you're being discriminated, you're being perhaps laid off, you're being badly treated in your workplace because of your age. Now, just a couple of words of why does ageism appear in the first place? Well, I think the answer is pretty obvious. It is in the best interest of the company to have the best working force they can have in a certain period of time. And let's be honest, for a company, the best period where the worker can give the best results is between 20 and 40 years old. That is, at least in my opinion, the golden span where the worker has the best achievements and the best results. Anything under 20 years old is bad because there is a big lack of experience, and after 40 people start getting older, they start to lack motivation, they start to lack the will and the enthusiasm to work. Sometimes, God forbid, people get sick, start getting health issues, and so on. So, in fact, ageism is becoming a tool for getting rid of you as a worker from the company once you get to a certain age. Once more, the company needs you from the age of 20 to the age of 40. And once you're over the age of 40, or 45 or 50, you start experiencing things within the company that just make you leave. So it's becoming sort of a tool for getting rid of older workers. Now, what are some of the most common signs of ageism in a workplace and in a toxic workplace especially? I haven't mentioned at this point that, ageism is a very common trait in a toxic workplace. So there's lots of it. Besides all of the other numerous problems, ageism is one more thing. If you watched my video about how to deal with younger people when they arrive within the company, you can see how I dealt with those kinds of problems. It is a sort of ageism and respect problem. The first thing you'll notice with ageism is that you're going to be pushed aside bit by bit. Again, I want to say that this happens gradually. If you've had certain responsibilities, if you've had a certain position within the company, if people ask you this and that about work and everything else, you'll slowly sense that this is disappearing and that perhaps other people are taking over those responsibilities, or again, you're simply being pushed aside. Right after this is the other sign, and that is a lack of respect. So the moment you don't have those responsibilities, you don't have that image within the company, there will certainly be a lack of respect. And you can see this in many ways. Simply, people don't treat you the same. They start talking to you differently. They start reacting to you differently. They may start joking with you, which never happened before that, and so on. It's a pretty bad thing, and trust me, you'll clearly know when this happens. The next thing you'll notice is that you'll be given less work than usual. For instance, if you have some sort of project or you're an overseer of something, for instance, a supervisor of something, you'll be moved away from that work. And perhaps you'll be degraded to a lower position. Also a very bad feeling. Accompanied with that, there will be no promotion. To my company where I worked before that, there weren't any promotions anyway. But, as I've heard from other YouTube channels, there are in various other companies abroad, getting a promotion is a big thing. You will be probably leashed of that, and at the same time you'll see younger workers get those promotions even sometimes when they don't deserve it. Now, once you've experienced all of this, the next signs that come are more serious, and this is the point where you'll get the very clear notion that the company wants to get rid of you. The first sign will be clear and open exclusion from work. So you'll see certain situations where you simply don't get access to the work at all. If the everyday procedures you have, if you're being excluded from that, then that's a big problem. Usually after this comes even bigger problems, and that is humiliation and harassment. At this point, I must sincerely tell you this: you should leave the company. This is sort of the final system for the company and perhaps your coworkers, toxic coworkers especially. This is the final tool they use to get you out of the company. You will be outright humiliated. People will talk to you badly. You will be yelled at. You will be told not to come to work. You may be told to do things that are not in your range. Get me coffee, clean the hallway or something like that. Again, I'm making this up. And do stupid errands, which otherwise, if everything was normal, would not be asked of you. When it gets to this, you know 100% that you have to leave, and there's no doubt about it that ageism is the problem. Best never let it come to this phase. I must say it on this part. So if it comes to the part where they exclude you from work, where they harass you or humiliate you, it's time for you to go. Again, I would recommend for you not to be persistent to this point. You're gonna get fired in any case, because when there is a serious case of ageism, they just want to get rid of you. So my advice on this part is to get out of the company as soon as you notice the first symptoms. So, how to fight ageism, provided you can fight it at all, especially in a toxic workplace? Well, there are a couple of things you can do to perhaps prolong the period before you get laid off. The first thing is to make yourself as valuable as possible. So, if you get the chance to learn, improve yourself, finish various courses, finish various schools and everything else, and make yourself a better worker, do it. It's a big thing. Another tip is not to share your knowledge. Now, one of the foundations of ageism is that you're old and you're useless. And sadly, one of the main propagators of that are your younger colleagues. They will be the first people to talk like that, I must say, in most cases. And what you do when you share knowledge with them is that you give your valuable experience. I made a specific video about this. You give your valuable experience to them, and at the end of the day, they are the people who will push you out of the company. So whatever experience, knowledge, whatever you have, keep it to yourself. What can I say? It's a cruel game, and if you don't play it by those rules, you will get laid off. And at the same time, you will give your valuable experience to other people for nothing. Another tip would be to keep your health in as good condition as possible. Now, where does ageism really kick in, and what helps you in being a victim of ageism? That is looking old. It's something that is built into the human nature, and people perceive lots of things visually. What am I saying? If you're supposed to get laid off because of ageism, when they see the guy that looks like an older person, that's the guy who's gonna be first on the chopping block. Now, I know this is inevitable, okay? I'm not telling you to go to the fountain of youth. But, let's be honest, there are certain things that you can do to keep yourself in better condition. You can also have some gray hair, but if you have some muscle, if you have a good, confident posture, and if you take care of your skin or something like that, people will look at you differently. The next tip on this list is to start to connect with people that are the same age as you are. And preferably if you can connect to people that are in a higher position than you, if you have this possibility in your company. Ageism is something that everybody can be a victim of. Your boss, the supervisor, head management, everybody can be a victim of this. And when you connect to certain people of the same age, you get this sort of camaraderie. People sort of better understand each other. And from this, if you're good at it, you can get various information, protection even, that can serve you well in the future. For the end of this video, I must say this. Ageism, just like any other kind of discrimination, is simply stupid. It is dumb and it brings nothing but problems. What I must say as a worker to company owners or to other younger people out there within the companies: respect older people. Respect people who have experience. Respect people who have been through all kinds of situations at work, who have seen lots of things, who have solved lots of things. Respect them and treat them like your elders and like someone you can learn from. As you'll see, older people, but also there are all kinds of older people that are very bad and that are not like this. But in most cases, as you'll see, when people are good and when they're kind, older people will teach you how to work, will help you lots of times, will show you and prevent you from making big mistakes that they made, and the list goes on. But if you turn a blind eye to this, if you treat an older person with disrespect, if you treat them like they're some sort of old garbage can that is to be kicked around, it's simply the wrong thing to do. It is both morally, it is the wrong thing, and for productivity within the company. Also, I must say this, although this is not going to have probably any effect, for all the companies out there, I noticed some sort of trend where they only employ people that are 20 to 30 years old. And I understand this. This is, again, the best opportunity for the company to employ people that have the best health, enthusiasm. You can teach them like you want for working in your system and so on. But again, the truth is that these people simply will not know how to do certain things. They don't have the needed experience. On average, you need at least 10 years of experience in some line of work to call yourself an experienced worker. On the other side, you have older people, those from 40 to 60 years old, who have even bigger experience, and perhaps give a chance to those people also. It can be well worth your while. I know there may be health issues. I know there may be grumpy people. I know there may be people who you will not be able to command in a way you like. But those are the experienced people, and those are the people who know how to work, trust me. So that's it for this time. I hope this video helps. Please like and subscribe. It's a huge help for what we're doing. Again, this channel is dedicated to you, to the person out there who is stuck in a toxic and bad workplace, who is a victim of all kinds of problems and situations where people are treating you badly. This channel is dedicated to you and to making your life easier in such conditions until it all passes and you find yourself a better workplace. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.